you want to feel tall.
Okay, this is the first picture, and it's a picture of a grinder and a cover control part for a sink grater. Identification, traceability of material in a molding plant is very key, as there's a lot of material moving around it many times throughout the day, especially when it comes to regrind. So I thought this was a good picture because one, we have a part on top of the grinder, and two, we identified the grinder with the material that's actually being ground, so I thought this was good. Here's a part, sorry I don't know the name of this part, but as you can see we have a reject bin, which is good, but we have a lot of parts on the floor, which is going to create a lot of extra time in trying to clean up these parts. Over by press 12, good sign, no broom. Same thing here for the ladder. And I did a lot of walking around and taking a look at labels on Gaylords, because a lot of our Gaylords have a lot of labels on them. So it's important that we have the right label on them. And in this case we have the item number here, which is good, and then the small label on top of that. So everything will look good. Here's a scale sitting on top of the Gaylord. I know we've talked about this before. These scales are really expensive, so maybe we can find a different spot for that. Boxes they're over there by the press, but they're just kind of hanging out over there. Almost ready to tip over. The two-shot machine, I know, is always a eye-catcher for potential customers and current customers. However, if we brought somebody over there today, we would see the parts coming out of the chute, but we have a garbage bin right there, right next to the good parts. So I don't know if this really creates a real good impression for us. This is the startup. I don't know what press this is. It's over here. The startup bag, which is great that we have the parts, but it's hanging off the back end of the press. And if we had to find the parts, we're going to take a lot of extra steps to try to find these parts. And the mold book for this press is hanging out here in the dryer. Notice a lot of the Gaylords are sometimes marked with the press number that they are grinding parts from. Some are marked with the material that's actually being ground up, and some are marked with the part, as we saw in the first picture. But there's really not a standardization of one method. Here's a 2-second improvement. In the last 2 weeks, I personally tested hundreds of enclosures on the sink grater enclosure, and I thought maybe what we could do here is move this apparatus a little higher up for eye level, because right now I'm not very tall, but that's me looking down at it, so I had to take some extra time to look down at the gauge. If we move it up, that might be a little bit easier for everybody, and maybe a little bit more than 2-second improvement. And here's a garbage can, Boxes GC. I have no clue what that was. I just thought it was an interesting picture of a garbage can, a round garbage plant, but it's marked Boxes GC. And that's it.
Great. Thanks, Lee. Thank you, Lee. All right. Don't forget today we have Poly 1 coming in today this afternoon. Next week we have Green Toys in on the 19th and 20th. Tom Cruise, do we have the sample rubbers for those quantities they want for a Green Toy yet? Okay, so they want specific quantities run so we can assemble them and everything before they leave those 2 days. And also Phil Tran will be here on the 20th at 1 o'clock. So, okay, so those are the things we got going on. Please check the Kaizen events. Improvements. One of the things I need to bring up is we're going back through to fix all the tape guns. You notice that Anna and Maria are fixing all the magnets so they stay in the location, but we got to make sure if everyone can find the tape guns that they were using or that aren't in your spot, can you make sure that we put them back up on the wall for right now, because we're missing about 8. So we want to find out where those 8 are at. Okay? You can just do that right before the other one. Alright, so talking about 90% is waste. The same is true of the computer jock who spends most of their time clicking on a computer and searching for documents as opposed to adding value and changing and improving something. I'm actually aware of the waste, and many times I see 10 emails exchanged by me and my associates when it should have taken 1 or 2 at the most. 90% of everything you and I do every day is waste. That is just a statistical reality. Human beings have a natural capacity to create and develop and improve. However, it is essential that we develop and utilize this to its full potential. We are problem solvers at our core, at the very design of the way we were made. But more often than not, we don't tap into this innate potential because we don't have a good process to harness it. We are not ants that go in and just grab a grain of sand and pull it out and stack it on and dig a hole. We go in, grab the grain of sand, pull it out, stack it, and have the capacity to ask, how can I do it better? And we build an excavator. The key is to create a strategy, a deliberateness, a methodology that taps into the God-given genius. Perhaps that's why I'm so passionate about lean, because it does exactly that. It is a system that taps into the genius that God infused and designed into all of us. Okay? So just like we said, number 8, waste is obviously wasted potential, and that's what we're talking about. Everyone has a potential to do that. Everyone's special. Everyone's, should look at themselves. It's like, hey, I can have that idea. I can come up with something better. Okay? I've got an improvement video here, real quick.